It's a Crime Watch daily update to a story we brought you about the lurid underworld of bondage and sadomasochism. A former cop who led a double life. By day, a 12-year veteran of a Wisconsin police department. By night, a twisted sadist who makes 50 Shades of Grey look like a fairy tale.
The first suitcase had an adult woman. She was naked. She had a gag ball in her mouth that was attached by a collar.
Now, Steven Zelich is getting 35 years for the grisly killing of Jenny Gomez, one of two women whose bodies he stuffed in suitcases, leaving them on the side of a rural country road after choking them to death during a sex game called breath play.
I'm very sorry that this occurred, and I'm very sorry Jenny was the victim, and I wasn't able to protect her the way I was supposed to.
That's Zelich addressing the court. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of first-degree reckless homicide with use of a dangerous weapon and 1 count of hiding a corpse. The former cop was originally set to stand trial, but his plea changed all that. He will now be eligible for parole when he's 88 years old.
Really, the priority in this case always was to make sure that Steven Zelich was never again out in the community at an age where he physically would be able to commit this kind of crime again.
Our Milwaukee affiliate, WITI, reporting that Zelich met Jenny on a bondage website. The 19-year-old traveled more than 2,000 miles from Oregon, where they rendezvoused at a Wisconsin Comfort Inn.
They spent days at the hotel. He participated in a BDSM session, and during that session, he ultimately took her life.
Months later, police say Zelich met 37-year-old Laura Simonson, also on a bondage website.
Laura and Mr. Zelich were not strangers. They had a previous relationship through the internet.
The two checked into this microtel inn, Zelich telling detectives they played a choking game when he lost control and accidentally killed her.
What we do know points to the deaths being caused by people meeting in a hotel room and something going terribly awry after consensual activity.
Zelich admitted he stuffed the bodies of both women in suitcases and brought them back to his apartment, where he stored them in his refrigerator, one of them for close to a year. He later put them in the trunk of his car.
The smell was so strong that he decided that he had to get rid of them.
After the bodies of the women were discovered, detectives investigate Zelich's profile on sexual fetish websites. On his page, Zelich said he was seeking a 24/7 slave for absolute ownership. There is nothing better than a slave tied tight, gagged, blindfolded, and hooded.
Shock. I still can't believe it's him.
Jamie Bates was his roommate for about a year and says Zelich was nice to her children. But one day, he revealed a sickening secret.
He had said that he kept a girl for 7 years in his apartment in this crate, this cage. And he would leave her in there during the day when he went to work as a police officer. And he would come home on lunch and check in on her.
Frightened for her life, Jamie waited for Zelich to go to work, packed up her kids, and took off in a U-Haul.
I had my children there around him, and to think that we all could have been victims. Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry.
In these audio recordings released to the court, you can hear the police chief confronting Zelich about abusing his position to intimidate innocent women.
Do you think it's proper, Steve, for an officer on duty in uniform to be approaching a woman and continually asking her for lunch?
My behavior was never badgering. It was very casual.
Zelich, police learned, has a history of terrorizing women. His own police department compiling mountains of evidence against one of their own. Those documents say Zelich would often show up at strip clubs while on duty. At Heartbreakers, one dancer told investigators that Zelich asked her out on dates an estimated 1,000 times over 8 years. In the coming weeks, Zelich could face charges in Minnesota for the death of the other woman, Laura Simonson. And if he's found guilty, the former cop will spend the rest of his life behind bars, in a cell not bigger than a suitcase, where he will have plenty of time to think about his cruel and twisted acts.